Fifth, when you continuously call Puff gay, does that affect your relationships in Hollywood?
I don't call him gay. I said
50 Cent has always been one to speak his mind, and lately, he's been throwing some serious shade at Diddy. For years, he's made no secret of their issues, but now he's throwing Usher and Justin Bieber into the mix, and people are really starting to take notice. Usher's already talked about how living with Diddy as a teenager felt like stepping into a whole other world, one no kid should be in. And Bieber somehow found himself caught up in that same energy. 50's been hinting that Diddy's mentorship wasn't about teaching the ropes of the industry, but more about, well, let's just say it wasn't your usual career advice. 50 laughs it off in interviews, but you can tell he's dead serious. It feels like he's been holding onto these secrets for years, and now he's finally ready to spill the tea. And when it comes to why 50 never went to Diddy's infamous parties, he didn't hold back either. On the Enthusiast podcast, he made it clear those parties were just never his scene. They might be legendary for their wild energy, but 50 wasn't about that life. All I'm gonna say is, 50 smirked, Diddy's parties? Too freaky for me. I'm good. Yup, you heard that right. 50 Cent, the guy who's always pushing limits and making waves, actually drew the line when it came to Diddy's events. And if 50's saying something's too much, you know it's serious. So what was really going down at these parties? 50 didn't spill all the details, but he made it clear that the vibe was anything but normal. I'm just a regular guy, he said. I like things simple. That stuff they were on? Nah, not for me. Forget about champagne fountains and designer outfits. According to 50, these parties were on a whole different level, and not in a good way. People in the industry get into some weird stuff, he added, shaking his head. Stuff you wouldn't even believe if I told you. And honestly, some things just don't get talked about. Of course, this is 50 Cent we're talking about. He's the king of throwing out cryptic hints and letting people figure it out. But one thing he made clear, he wasn't about to get caught up in any of that. You won't see me at those parties. Nope, not my scene, he said straight up. Fans couldn't help but wonder what exactly was going down at those events that made 50 stay away. Was it the vibe? The people? The activities? Maybe all of the above. Whatever it was, 50 decided to keep his distance and watch the chaos from a safe spot. And honestly, can you blame him? Sometimes, it's just better to stay home with a pizza and a movie than walk into what sounds like a reality show on steroids. True to form, 50 couldn't resist throwing a little shade. Some of these folks will do anything to stay relevant, he said. Me? I just keep it real and stay in my lane. So while Diddy's parties might be legendary or infamous, 50 Cent's perfectly fine staying out of it. 50 Cent is definitely staying far away from all the chaos, and you can tell he has no regrets about ignoring those invites. But now, Jaguar Wright is adding more fuel to the fire. She's known for speaking her mind about the music industry, and this time, she's dropped a huge bomb about what allegedly went down at Diddy's infamous parties. According to her, some people didn't just leave, they literally ran out of his house screaming. Sounds like a nightmare, right? In one of her usual rants, Jaguar leaned into the mic with all her energy and said, "Let me tell you something. People would go to Diddy's house thinking they were about to live the dream, celebrities, luxury, all that. But some left traumatized. They left screaming because of the madness they saw in there." Jaguar is no stranger to calling out shady stuff in the entertainment world, but when she says grown adults were running out like they just escaped a horror movie, it definitely makes you think. Things must have been next level. Jaguar didn't go into too many details, probably to avoid trouble, but the way she spoke made it clear that what went down at Diddy's parties was far from normal. It was the kind of stuff you can't forget, she said with a cryptic tone. Let's stop for a second here. Parties are supposed to be fun, right? Drinks, music, good vibes. But apparently, not at Diddy's. According to Jaguar, these gatherings weren't just about having fun. They were about power. It's not just a party, she said. It's a place where people's limits are pushed, where things happen that shouldn't happen. While some people believe Jaguar and hang on every word, others aren't so sure. Still, There's no denying she sparked a whole lot of questions about what really happens behind those big mansion gates. People would walk in thinking they were about to be part of something exclusive, Jaguar added. But they had no idea what they were actually getting into. It's one thing for 50 Cent to stay away, but Jaguar's words have left everyone curious about what's really going on behind the scenes. 50 Cent called them too freaky. But Jaguar's description makes them sound like something straight out of a psychological thriller. Grown adults running out screaming? That's not exactly what most people expect from a party. In the end, these stories raise more questions than answers. What exactly was happening at those parties? And more importantly, why did people keep showing up? With all the drama going on, you'd think the guest list came with a warning. Diddy, Usher, Justin Bieber, if they were all involved, you know it had to be more than your average party. Honestly, the RSVP probably should have come with a disclaimer. The stories about Diddy's wild lifestyle just keep coming, and this one involves Usher. Imagine this, a young Usher Raymond, eager to learn the music industry, sent to live with Diddy as a teenager. On the surface, it sounds like an amazing opportunity. But Usher has hinted that the reality wasn't all it seemed. In a recently resurfaced interview, Usher dropped a cryptic comment about his time with Diddy, saying, "I saw things that..." What he didn't say spoke volumes, leaving us wondering what really went down during that time. "I shouldn't have seen." Usher didn't go into detail about what he meant, but that one sentence was enough to make fans wonder. In a recent interview that's been making the rounds online, a young Usher looked back on his time living with Diddy. He described the whole experience as wild and talked about being exposed to grown-up things way too soon. Diddy even said in another conversation, "I taught Usher a lot, maybe too much." What makes this even more surprising is the fact that Usher was only 14 when he moved in with Diddy, who was already famous for his flashy, party-filled lifestyle. The young Usher was suddenly surrounded by luxury, late nights, and situations that were way too adult for someone his age. Looking back, Usher admitted that the experience helped shape him, but it wasn't without its problems. "I grew up fast," he said. Now, decades later, Usher's mentoring another star, Justin Bieber, just as Diddy once did for him. Back in 2007, a 13-year-old Justin Bieber was discovered on YouTube by Usher, who signed him to his label, Raymond Braun Media Group, in partnership with Scooter Braun. But here's where it gets interesting. Usher didn't just take Bieber under his wing, he also introduced him to Diddy. And if Usher's own experiences with Diddy were anything to go by, this wasn't exactly the kind of mentorship parents dream of for their kids. Bieber, starstruck by Diddy, started hanging out with him early in his career. One infamous video that's been circulating for years shows a young Bieber sitting on Diddy's lap while Diddy jokes about teaching him the ropes of the industry. Fans have speculated about what Bieber might have witnessed during his early days, especially with all the stories about Diddy's life behind the scenes. Usher's role in both these stories, first as the mentee who saw more than he bargained for, and then as the mentor who introduced Bieber to Diddy, feels like a full-circle moment. It's a fascinating, yet slightly unsettling, twist in their journeys. Did Usher ever second-guess introducing Bieber to a world he himself struggled to navigate as a teenager? Was he trying to give Bieber the same shot he had, or was it a case of history repeating itself in ways no one saw coming? Over the years, Bieber has shared bits and pieces of his own journey, hinting at the highs and lows of growing up in the spotlight. He's spoken openly about feeling overwhelmed and losing himself in the chaos of fame, though he's never pointed fingers at anyone for those struggles. But the connection to Usher and Diddy makes people wonder, did those early introductions play a role in shaping both the good and the bad parts of Bieber's path? The intertwined stories of Usher, Bieber, and Diddy leave an uneasy feeling about how mentorship and fame mix in the entertainment world. Diddy's parties, his lifestyle, and the controversial stories tied to his name paint a picture of an environment where things often get messy and boundaries are hard to find. It's easy to see how young stars like Usher and Bieber could be drawn to that world, only to face challenges they may not have been ready for. Usher hasn't said much about his time with Diddy, but his cryptic comments and decision to introduce Bieber to that same world only make things more mysterious. Did Usher believe Bieber could handle it, or was he just passing the torch? Either way, the stories that keep coming out show that Diddy's influence on both of them is more complicated and controversial than most people realized. Diddy's power in the entertainment world is huge, but not always in a good way. For years, there have been whispers that no one really made it big unless Diddy gave his approval. And when you hear what some insiders have said, it doesn't sound so crazy. If Diddy didn't like you, your chances of success were slim. One anonymous source even said he was the guy who could open doors or shut them fast. Sounds dramatic, right? But remember, this is the same man who turned Bad Boy Records into a massive cultural empire. Diddy didn't just throw epic parties. He worked with everyone from Biggie to J-Lo. You couldn't just show up in his world. You had to earn your place. His kingmaker attitude was everywhere. Diddy had so much power that people either wanted to impress him or were scared of him. If you weren't in his inner circle, you probably had no idea what you were missing out on. Jaguar Wright says some celebrities literally ran out of Diddy's house screaming because of what went down at his parties. If you weren't ready for that life, you didn't belong there. She described late-night chaos that wasn't for the weak. But it gets even wilder. Diddy didn't just pull strings behind the scenes. He did whatever he wanted, right out in the open, and didn't care who was watching. One source said he was untouchable. Imagine walking into a party and seeing someone who acts like they own not just the room, but the whole industry. That was Diddy. When artists signed with Diddy, it wasn't just about a record deal. It was like stepping into his world. They weren't just making music. They were drawn into his lifestyle, often feeling pressured to attend his parties or go along with whatever Diddy thought was best for their careers. It was a system, and if you wanted to make it, you had to play by his rules. Usher once hinted at how strange Diddy's world was in a resurfaced interview. He said, "There were things I probably shouldn't have seen, things I didn't even understand at the time." For someone who was mentored by Diddy as a teenager, that's a pretty serious statement. And it didn't end with Usher. Years later, he brought Justin Bieber into the fold and introduced him to Diddy. Let's hope Bieber didn't witness anything too crazy. For a long time, Diddy's confidence made him feel untouchable. He moved through the entertainment world like no one could challenge him, and for years, that was true. But in the age of social media and accountability, people are starting to question what's really been happening behind the scenes. Old stories are coming back to light, and former collaborators are starting to speak out. Diddy's polished image is being questioned, and it makes you wonder how many careers were either made or ruined because of him. How much of his success was about talent, and how much was about his influence? One thing's for sure, Diddy's legacy is anything but boring. Whether people love him or not, the man knew how to run things, whether others agreed or not. Now, let's dive into Diddy and J-Lo's relationship. From their red carpet moments to their dramatic breakup, it's always been the stuff of headlines. But according to Jaguar Wright, there's more to their story than people know, and it's as messy as you'd expect. Wright claims that Diddy went to great lengths to protect J-Lo, especially during the infamous nightclub shooting in 1999. Let's rewind to that night. Diddy and J-Lo were living their best lives as one of Hollywood's hottest couples when everything changed. Shots were fired. In a packed club, shots were fired, leaving 3 people injured. Diddy and J-Lo quickly fled the scene, and before anyone knew it, a media frenzy had kicked off. According to Jaguar Wright, Diddy made sure J-Lo got out safely, taking charge to protect her. But it wasn't just about physical safety, it was about her career too. At the time, J-Lo was making the leap from actress and dancer to pop star, and any link to a criminal case could have put a serious dent in her rising career. Wright claims Diddy took the fall for the situation, facing legal trouble while J-Lo stayed mostly untouched. She came out clean, and it's said Diddy used his influence to make sure she wasn't too closely tied to the scandal. Now, fast forward to today, and it looks like J-Lo's team is working hard to distance her from Diddy's ongoing drama. With new allegations against him, her PR team seems to be focused on keeping her far away from the mess. J-Lo has worked hard to rebuild her image, and now more than ever, she wants to stay far from Diddy's drama. An insider revealed that the last thing she wants is to get caught up in his mess. And honestly, who can blame her? Over the years, J-Lo has built a brand as a powerhouse performer, fashion icon, and business mogul. The last thing she needs is her name being dragged through headlines tied to Diddy's legal battles and wild parties. Her team has been working hard to separate her from him, making it clear she's moved on. What's wild, though, is how much Diddy's reputation has changed. Back in the day, being linked to him was like a golden ticket in Hollywood. But now, his name is more of a liability than an asset. While he's dealing with lawsuits and public drama, J-Lo is out here living her best life, headlining Super Bowls, starring in movies, and thriving in every way. Still, no matter how much she's moved forward, that shooting incident remains a part of their past, and that's something she can't easily shake off. 50 Cent has never been one to hold back, and lately, he's been coming for Diddy in a big way. From throwing shade at his business moves to calling out his larger-than-life image, 50's made it clear he's not a fan. But things really took a turn when 50 started dropping hints, well, more like flat-out claiming, that Diddy's got some personal secrets. In a recent interview, 50 didn't pull any punches, saying, "Diddy be doing some suspect stuff? Man, it's not even speculation anymore, it's right there in front of you." He pointed to old clips like the infamous Drink Champs interview, where Diddy said some things about rapper Fabulous that raised eyebrows. Then there was that moment with Usher, who clearly looked uncomfortable. It's clear to 50 that there's something off about Diddy, and when 50 says something suspect, you know it's worth paying attention to. 50 Cent kept things spicy when Diddy's name hit the headlines for all the wrong reasons. As the allegations and indictment piled up, 50 couldn't resist taking to Twitter to add his 2 cents. He posted, "Man, Diddy out here doing the most, and they finally caught up with him." Karma is undefeated, with a meme of Diddy that made it clear he was loving the drama. Fans ate it up. One tweeted, "50 Cent has never lost an internet beef. I'm all in on this one," while another said, "Respect for 50 Cent, he's a real one." But for 50, it's just business. He's all about staying true to his brand. As he put it, "I'm not saying anything people don't already know. I'm just saying it louder." And let's not forget, this isn't the first time 50's thrown shade at Diddy. A few years back, he went on a podcast and dropped this bomb, "I don't even call it rumors anymore." You hear stuff from people who've been around him, and it all adds up. When it comes to calling Diddy out, 50 doesn't hold back. 50 Cent knows how to stir the pot without even breaking a sweat. He doesn't need solid proof. He drops just enough to get people talking. When Diddy's legal troubles hit, 50 wasted no time jumping into the drama. The case, full of serious allegations, shook Diddy's world, but 50 capitalized on it with a tweet. "This is what happens when you're messy. It all catches up with you eventually." That's the thing about 50 Cent. Whether you love him or not, he knows how to stay in the spotlight, especially when he's calling out Diddy. Some people say he's just starting unnecessary beef, but others think he's saying what everyone else is too scared to. No matter what side you're on, one thing's clear. When 50 speaks, people listen and usually laugh too. As for Diddy, he's mastered the art of staying unbothered by all the noise around him. Scandals, accusations, you name it, he just keeps moving like it's no big deal. It makes you wonder how he stays so calm with all the chaos swirling around. How does he do it? How does he keep his cool through everything? Diddy has this way of skating past drama like it's nothing. Some people say it's because he has a system in place to make sure anyone who speaks out stays quiet. One insider put it like this: he's not afraid. He knows how to make people hush up. Nobody wants to mess with him. It's almost like he's perfected the art of keeping people silent with intimidation or influence, all while his image stays spotless. Meanwhile, the gossip continues in the shadows, but things are getting even stranger. It's not just the rumors about his business that have people talking now. People are starting to question his personal life, too, especially his relationship with his stepson, Quincy Brown. They've always seemed close, but some are starting to think their bond might be a little off. And of course, when 50 Cent brings it up, the internet blows up. 50 didn't hold back in an interview, telling everyone to really look at Diddy and Quincy's relationship. What's going on there? That's the new question everyone's asking. 50 Cent didn't hold back, saying, The way Diddy's been moving with Quincy, that ain't normal. He's basically calling out their relationship as odd. Sure, we all get that fathers can be close with their sons, even stepsons, but with Diddy and Quincy, the line between fatherly love and something more feels a little blurry. If you've been paying attention, Diddy and Quincy are always together on red carpets, sharing pics on social media or just hanging out. They look inseparable, but some fans are starting to feel like it's a bit too much. It's one thing to be close, but when people start feeling uncomfortable, you can't ignore it. And it's not just 50 Cent throwing shade, other people have started to notice something's off too. While most would think it's just a typical dad and son bond, a few have pointed out that their connection seems a little too intimate. It's a strange vibe, one source said. Diddy and Quincy have this vibe, almost like best friends, but it feels a little too close, making people wonder if there's something more to it. But no matter what people think, they keep showing off their close bond, always posting together and sharing moments on social media. Diddy even calls Quincy his son, showing him lots of love. Diddy's always been private about his personal life, so it's tough to know what's really going on. But one thing is clear, he's not bothered by the attention. He's great at controlling the story, and despite the gossip around him, he keeps pushing forward. He's even said, "People will talk, but I don't let it bother me." He's figured out how to keep things under wraps while staying on top. Now, do you think 50 Cent is onto something, or is he just messing around to get a reaction? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Diddy's cool under pressure and has some complicated relationships, so it's hard to say. But there's definitely more to this story than we know. Thanks for watching, and don't miss out on these other videos we've picked just for you. Catch you in the next one.